What up, you guys? Today, I want to talk recovery, right? Because strengthening is only half the equation. Lengthening is the other half of it. If we're always strengthening our muscles and we're never stretching them back out, we're going to create imbalances, tightness, pain. We're going to pull ourselves out of alignment. So today, I'm going to show you my 4 favorite wall stretches and my 4 favorite floor stretches. All right, stay tuned. Let's go. All right, you guys, to get started, all we need is a mat and a wall. We're gonna lay down, put our legs up the wall. The hardest part is getting into position. Start off with your butt up against the wall. We're gonna lay down, kick our legs up the wall, arms out to the side. We're gonna settle into this. It's gonna be tight at first. Your goal is to have your sits bones touching the wall. We're gonna lay here until that relaxation kicks in or until those muscles begin to let go. Our next stretch is going to be for our IT band that runs from our knee to our hip. So what we're going to do is take the leg that we're going to stretch, for example, my right leg. I'm going to pull it towards the center line of my body. I'm going to pull my toe down towards me for dorsiflexion. I'm going to grab my toe with my heel, and I'm going to lightly pull the heel, stretching my calf. So it's pulling the toe towards the knee, stretching out from the knee all the way to the hip here. Settle into this just like we did with our legs up the wall and feel that stretch all the way from the knee to the hip. Our next stretch is going to be a butterfly stretch for our adductors, our inner thighs. So from this position, we're just going to put the bottoms of our feet together. From here, we're going to put our hands on our knees, lightly apply pressure, feel the inner thighs stretching. And then you can, if you have any imbalances or tightness on one side or the other, we'll just put a little bit of pressure towards that one side, a little bit towards the other. Just kind of go back and forth and then settle in the middle, and it kind of works out some of those kinks. Our next stretch on the wall is going to be for our piriformis and our hip. So we're going to bend both of our knees, go into a slight bridge. From here, we're going to take the leg we're stretching and we're going to cross it over right at the ankle by the knee. From here, we're just going to sink our hips down into the floor. This is like our figure 4 or our pigeon stretch. You should be feeling it right here in this hip. To increase the intensity of the stretch, all we do is place the elbow against the knee, pushing out as we sink into it, and you'll feel it stretch slightly differently in that hip and in that piriformis. This is the key stretch to that sciatica and those issues with the pain running from your back all the way down your legs. You can even take it a little bit side to side to get some of those extra kinks. Just make sure that you do both sides the same. After our 4 wall stretches, let's dive into 4 floor stretches on our mat, more yoga-esque. So for our first one, we're going to go into a runner's lunge. I like to start with just my knees at the back of the mat. We're going to take one foot as far forward as we can. From here, we're going to push our hips forward, sinking into this front hip flexor. So we're feeling the hip flexor of that leg. We're feeling the hamstring of the foot in front. Now, we want to make sure this knee is stacked directly over this ankle. If it's too far back, all right, you got to kick that foot out there. Next, if you want to add a little more intensity to the stretch, all you do is lower yourself down towards your elbows. Your goal is not to spasm them. You want to ease into the stretch, breathe into it. If you're like, well, then you're fighting yourself and it's counterproductive. Okay, so we want to make sure breathing, gradually sinking into each stretch. Now from here, I want to grab that front foot. Stretch number 2 is for our hamstring. We're going to drive our booty all the way back, holding onto that foot. If you need balance, put this hand on the floor for balance. Otherwise, both hands help intensify the stretch. We're going to lower our head towards our knee. And then this front foot, I want to drive that butt towards the back wall. So we're pushing our butt back as we're leaning forward. You should feel the stretch in your calf, your hamstring, and even in your back from here. Number 3, drop forward onto our knee. We're going to grab our back foot like so. This is all hip flexor right here. Pushing our chest out, opening up the front of those hips. When we're seated all day long, these muscles get super tight. We need to open that up. Like a bow and arrow. I'm like Katniss Everdeen, holding my bow. If you want to intensify the stretch, use 2 hands, drive the chest out, push that foot into the hand. Yeah, we're going to be feeling this quad all the way up into this hip flexor. If you don't have balance and you can't find this one, a way to change this stretch is simply by putting your foot on the wall and then stepping forward, and you'll still feel that stretch, just not quite as intense, and you won't have to worry about the balancing as much. Our last floor stretch, I want to be laying on our back, arms out like a T. We're going to twist out our spine like a wet washcloth, wringing out all the knots. So we're going to have our arms out like a T. We're going to lift our leg up into the air. I don't care which leg. And all we're going to do is slowly bring it across the body all the way to the other side. Okay? Now, it's going to be tight. This hand's going to come off the floor most likely. We're breathing into it. Take the opposite hand, grab that knee that came across, and then apply pressure into the floor with that elbow. It'll allow you to twist a little further into the stretch. I want you to be looking at the direction of your arm over here. So we're opening up this pec. We're stretching out the back and the hip the whole way. And breathe slow and deep into each one of these. I want you to hang out here long enough to feel that release, to let everything go. A reminder, make sure that we do both sides equally, the same amount. So if you do one, make sure you do the other.